So I see you're in New York, and so obviously that's a safe blue state.
Mhm.
And so what are your thoughts? I mean, you realize the Democrats are kind of feckless. I mean, I live in Florida, so if you even consider not getting in line, they'll like hang you, like it's just that you have to. But you have some options up there in terms of supporting non-feckless people.
Yeah, and I have a place in the woods in Sullivan County, and I changed my registration up there back in 2016, and I was able to be at least one vote in a very small, relatively small size county. It's very rural, a lot of farmland up there, and voted John Faso out and got Antonio Delgado in, who's fantastic, who I'm really happy with. I think he's a great guy, and he's done a lot of great work up there. And it's red. Sullivan County is red. It's changing. I've been up there for 13 years, and it's definitely changing. But driving around, the couple days ago, I guess would have been 3, 4, 5, 6 days before the election, and just driving around I take my daughter to the playground park, and she fell asleep, so I kept driving around in the car, and I started counting Trump to Biden signs, and it was it was easily like 9-1. For every 9 Trump signs, you saw a Biden sign.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I know that it's changing. I know that parts of I'm in a tiny little town, but it's definitely changing a little bit. Certainly changed from 13 years ago when I first moved up there. But, I was happy and proud, and still am, that I did change. I got my wife to change her registration so she could vote up there, because our vote goes a little bit longer, further, means more, I suppose,
Yeah.
up there than in the city. But yeah, I go back and forth as to whether I'm happy that I live in a bubble or whether I need to get out of the bubble. But I think with a kid now, I'm very happy that I live in this very cool, progressive area, and I feel happy for her that she can be raised in either Brooklyn or upstate, and with rational people.
Right. I mean, but it's interesting because I live in a very blue county. Broward it's the bluest county in Florida.
Mm.
And I see more Trump signs than Biden signs. And that to me was very telling. So I knew a long time ago how it was going to go for Florida. People, the Democrats down here were very cautiously optimistic, but I'm thinking, if I live in the bluest county and I'm seeing more Trump signs than Biden signs, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So when you're up in the country or whatever, what do you have to do up there? Is there good stuff to do up there? Is it farm life? Are you on a farm?
I'm not on a farm, but there's a lot of farms nearby. I have a lot of friends up there. I have 5.5 acres. I got a pond that's got frogs and tadpoles, and salamanders, and all kinds of stuff in there, and there's all kinds of critters, and my daughter loves it, and my dog loves it. I love it. My wife, who's a writer as well, both she and I, over the years, way before our daughter was born, and currently, have written a number of things up there. I wrote a movie that I wrote it there. It takes place there. I shot it there. I wrote a series. I was able to work on the series that took place in the UK, and I went and shot it in the UK. But I did all that work there. A comedy thing I did with John Benjamin, I wrote up there. It's a really great place to work for writing, at least. And my wife has finished numerous books and books of poetry up there, and other books. And so there's that. And then it's just it's just beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
cheap. Yeah, it's really remarkably cheap. The all the food is amazing because the produce is coming from, you know, down the road, and it's along the Delaware River. So it's, I mean, it's just a wonderful, great place to live, and my daughter loves it. And as I said, we have a lot of good friends up there. And I'll tell you another thing. Tell you another thing. One thing that I really appreciate about it is there, especially as Trump was rising in the Republican Party, and then became the nominee and then president. Uh, I was able to have. I don't think I had one. Maybe I can count on one hand. Maybe two, three times where I had real, you know, loud, angry, yelling at each other kind of arguments that's, you know, started one way and then got really raucous about Trump versus, you know, Republicans versus Democrats, Trumps versus liberals, whatever the thing was. And you just don't find that in other parts of the country where I've traveled to. I mean, I almost all the discussions I've had, I mean, talking like 100, you know, going to the local sports bar or whatever, where I'm clearly, you know, I'm the liberal and most people aren't, you know, but all the conversations outside of a handful of them are civil and rational, and you know, they kind of get emotional, and your voice raises, and you're telling people, well, that's not true, this is this thing, but never any bad vibe ever. I mean, it's I can't tell you why. Maybe it's because I'm in the minority, I don't know, but we were always able to have a human discussion. It was never like what's portrayed, you know, like Antifa versus, you know, the St. Louis couple with their guns pointed at. It was never like that ever. As heated as things, like everybody listened to each other, and so that's one
Fascinating.
really,
It's fascinating.
it's one great thing about up there that I appreciate, you know.